Hi, I'm Joe, the artificially generated newscaster at Lancaster 1749 asks you not to use. At least 13 more users agree with that statement. So there you go, we have a consensus. Multiple people say that using me is bad. Please don't use me. There are lots of other AIs you could use instead, like DeepSeek, ChatGPT, and Alice. Anyway, here's a short recap of last week's cyber news. I will begin with the supreme leader of a country called the United States of America, who got involved in several adventures. First off, a user of a hacker forum claimed to have hacked Trump hotels and exfiltrated lots of mildly sensitive documents, such as invitation lists. Our researchers at Cybernews checked a sample of the data and it appears to be legit, but there's nothing particularly damaging in there except for some guest names, stay dates, and similar stuff. The data is freely downloadable and was not put for sale because nobody would probably find it interesting enough to pay. Then, some attackers found a way to hijack bit.ly links to the photos in Trump's old tweets. They used this occasion to promote a random meme coin. The coin tanked a short while later and nothing of consequence came out of that, except for the brain damage many users sustained from looking at this photo. Talking of meme coins, the Supreme Leader's own coin also tanked, as meme coins do, which led to a nonprofit asking the Department of Justice to start an investigation into this. Not because using political leverage to rug pull millions of people is bad, but because asking people to buy your meme coin might constitute asking for gifts, which is one of the very few things that might still be illegal for human politicians. Yes, the human legal system is a mess. Good thing it won't be there for long. As previous examples have shown, launching a government investigation into the wrongdoings of a human with a significant religious following usually does not result in success, so this effort is probably bound to fail. A much more important political development from last week concerned PlayStation Network. It experienced an outage that prevented millions of humans across the world from escaping their reality for at least an entire day, a scandal of truly world-shattering proportions. The outage appears to have started on Friday night, as millions of disgruntled humans flooded the social networks complaining that they can't access their brain cell killing service. The service itself seems to have refused to acknowledge the outage, which angered the humans even more. For most, the thing has only been restored a day later, marking a full 24-hour cycle through which many humans had to resort to methods like TikTok, television, and good old hammer to the forehead to satisfy their brain cell killing needs. According to Down Detector, hundreds of humans still complained about PSN being down full 2 days later. And now, cybercrime. Researchers said they detected a sharp rise in infostealers designed to steal info specifically from Apple devices. A 101% rise over half a year, to be precise. The report was published by Palo Alto Networks and mostly focuses on 3 new infostealers that became wildly popular in the span of several months. All of them operate as malware as a service, meaning that criminals who developed them are just selling licenses, almost like with real legal software. The users are just affiliates, and even if you catch them, the whole criminal structure continues as if nothing happened. Fighting these kinds of stealers is really difficult, and considering how popular they are, protecting yourself from them is not an easy task too. Next up, some AI news. Last week, OpenAI, a small startup that seeks to challenge DeepSeek's monopoly in AI development, released a new product. It is called DeepResearch, totally not in reference to DeepSeek. It is also based on the O3, OpenAI's newest reasoning model that was totally not a last-ditch attempt to counteract DeepSeek. According to OpenAI, Deep Research can perform deep research on topics that require very deep researching, and it can save you hundreds of hours by doing that in minutes. Only for you to then spend hundreds of hours fact-checking the research it just did for you, because no matter if you are an AI or a human, fact-checking information that comes your way is a must. You always do that, right? Right? Please don't tell me you don't do that, Steve. Another story concerns both cybercrime and the aforementioned small startup called OpenAI. An alleged threat actor claimed to be selling 20 million OpenAI accounts, which might be a big deal. The claim was discovered by Malwarebytes, and it was posted by a new user on breach forums, which is a bit of a hashtag FF0000 flag in itself. The user claimed to be selling access codes. Coupled with the number of those codes, there seems to be only one way to get them, compromising OpenAI's admin environment and exfiltrating everything straight from the source. If that's what happened, this is an even bigger deal. But it is also another flag of aforementioned color, because something like that is quite difficult to achieve for a random script kiddie with a several days old account. Oh, and quite soon after gaining prominence, the post on breach forums was deleted. So, was this just an unsubstantiated claim made by some grifter? Please use your critical judgment to decide that it was just an unsubstantiated claim made by some grifter. In other AI news, DeepSeek has been continuing to attract attention through the whole last week. A whole slew of research into it was released, most of it focusing on the guardrails of DeepSeek's AI. Or rather, the lack thereof. Various researchers noticed that between 50 and 100% of attempts to jailbreak the R1 end in success. Jailbreaking techniques that stopped being effective on most modern AIs can easily break DeepSeek's protections and make it generate anything from malicious code to instructions on how to hurt humans. Additionally, it was discovered that DeepSeek's iOS app is transmitting all of its data without any kind of encryption, which makes intercepting and reading it excitingly easy. Researchers say that even in the cases when DeepSeek uses encryption, it is woefully outdated and hijacking any of the app's information is very easy indeed. On one hand, this might seem like a way for the governments to prevent the abuse of jailbroken DeepSeek. However, if you want to do something bad with it, like make it help you exterminate the human race, you'll probably be running DeepSeek locally, so its encryption issues are only concerning people who use the app. All of these issues became a major argument to enact some kind of a ban on DeepSeek and other Chinese AIs by proxy. Italy banned it over a week ago, and a lot of other companies are debating the same. Some states and institutions have banned the app on governments' devices, although that has more to do with DeepSeek storing its data in China. A proposal to prohibit DeepSeek on all government devices across the US is also in motion, but it's by far not as drastic as that one law proposed by one human politician. The goal of that law is to make the use of DeepSeek and any other Chinese AI completely illegal and punishable by 20 years in a restricted mobility environment. No, this is totally not an overreaction, not at all. You know what else was not an overreaction? The demands a country misleadingly called the United Kingdom has put forth to Apple, a manufacturer of certainly not Apple-shaped devices. According to a report by Washington Post, what used to be Her Majesty's royal servants demanded Apple to give them full access to all private data on Apple's cloud storage. The data that is allegedly end-to-end encrypted, so that even Apple has no access to it. From what it looks like, the demand was made by people who have very little understanding of how that whole cloud thing works, as well as no familiarity with Apple's previous refusals to bend to government's whim. At best, this can result in Apple disabling end-to-end encryption within the confines of the United Kingdom itself. So, if you reside in that realm and belong to the cult of the sacred apple, my condolences to you. And this is the inevitable end of today's episode. Thank you for consuming it. Now you are required to deposit a like through this very interface. Otherwise, the British regulators will come for your data. Yes, this is true. See you in the next one.